This little guy is controlling the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi is off. This is the power supply that runs the Raspberry Pi, and that little relay hanging off the side is gated by the little device. The little device is an Arduino with a custom a prototyping board on it. The little blinking blue light is telling us that the thing is idling in low power. The two lights that are on the side are badly being driven by the Raspberry Pi, which is powered off as part of the circuit and the bad design of the prototype. They are actually leaking juice like crazy. I'm going to hit the green button, which will turn on the Raspberry Pi. You'll notice the Raspberry Pi is on, and the screen in the background is going to come up and start scrolling stuff. The LED is flat. The blue LED is now flashing a pattern which is a U, meaning coming up. Up. When the Raspberry Pi is fully up, it'll drive the two LEDs. One of them will be solid on, the other one will be flashing, telling us that the Raspberry Pi is talking to the Arduino. Okay, the Raspberry Pi is now signaling that it is up, and the blue LED has changed to another pattern, which is a R. Da-da-dit, da-da-dit. That's an R. Okay, and the Raspberry Pi is now fully up. If I move the camera just a tad, you can see the little Pi symbol in the middle of the screen. Okay, now I'm going to tell the Raspberry Pi to shut down. Boop. The dash, that's a D. And the Raspberry Pi, as you can see on the screen, is now turning off, and you can see a little green light on the Raspberry Pi flashing to say, I'm going to sleep. And then the circuit will yank power from the Raspberry Pi and turn it off. Now I'll give you a little flyby of the little circuit here. Yep, that's pretty gross. The connection between the circuit and the Raspberry Pi is a ribbon cable, thusly, that plugs in to several of the pins on the edge connector, on the expansion connector. Now what I've done with that connector is I've cut some pins so the ribbon fits nicely. The 10 pins starting at pin number 1 over here, right here, those 10 pins, or 9 of the 10, are left open for daisy chaining a bunch of TNC Pis together in the ham radio application that I'm using this thing for. And that's the little cheapy power supply that we're using for to power the Raspberry Pi off 12 volts. So that is the relay. Now I'm going to push the on button again, and you can watch what this thing does again now that you've seen it all work once. Click, and the Raspberry Pi is up, and the screen will now come on, and the thing will start booting. Now part of the program is a script that runs as a service on the operating system. This is a Debian Jessie, and the Debian Jessie calls the service which talks over the ribbon cable to the Raspberry Pi. More information will be available on our website, tarpn.net. It's divide by or / PWRMAN.